Okay folks, so the first thing we're going to look at today is we're going to look at just a wee reminder about area and perimeter of rectangles, squares, and what we're doing for perimeter. I'll remember we'll work with any shape. So I know for most of you this is just going to be a bit of revision, but we're just going to talk about this, and there's a wee worksheet you can do with this. So first little reminder is remember we are looking at both the area and the perimeter. Now the area of a rectangle or a square is always given by the formula area equals length times breadth. What we really want you to get into the habit of doing, remember, is making sure that you're not just writing down the answer, especially if you're finding the work quite easy, but we're looking for what our good answer looks like. So we're looking for 3 lines of working. So we should always start out, even if it's quite a straightforward one, with A equals L times B with our formula. Then we have a look here and we've got a length of 110 and we've got a breadth of 30, so that's our sum. And now here, if I was letting you use a calculator folks, you would obviously just type that into the calculator and get the answer. But let's try and do this one without a calculator just to practice that as well. So remember how we could break this up is we could times it by 10 and then by 3, and that would be something that would just be a little bit more straightforward for us to do. So we would end up with 1100 if we times it by 10. We've still got to times that by 3 and we get 3,300. Okay, so that's the kind of working I would expect to see from you, even if you're finding it straightforward. Remember, showing what you're doing is important. And then we need some units, and it's millimetres, and it's an area, so remember it's square millimetres. Now, for the perimeter, we don't always use a formula. There is a formula for the perimeter of a rectangle or a square, but most of you will just remember that we add up all the sides. So we've got 110 twice, so that would be 220, and we've got 30 twice, so that would be 60, and we add those together and we get 280. And remember, this time it's just in millimetres, okay? It's not square millimetres, it's not an area, it's a length. It's how far you would walk if you were walking all the way around that rectangle. So, should be quite straightforward for you. Let's have a look at another question. Okay, so the next one we've got is supposed to be a square. Apologies for my dodgy drawing. So, same again, not worrying about the fact that we maybe think this is quite an easy question, but making sure we've got all our lines of working. So area equals length times breadth. 7 times 7 here, or some of you might know that we could also write that as 7 squared, 49, and that's centimetres squared. Okay, and then the perimeter, same idea. This time you've got 7, add 7, add 7, add 7, or that would be 4 times 7, which is 28, and this time, remember it's centimetres, we're working with a length, so it's not square centimetres. Now, I wonder if you can spot why we're doing this final example. So we've got another rectangle, and this time the length and breadth are 70 millimetres and 3 centimetres. Now, something we've maybe not spoken about too much in class recently is the idea that we need to have matching units. So we're going to need to change this. Now, you could either go for changing the 70 millimetres into centimetres, so we would have 7 centimetres and 3 centimetres, or you could change the 3 centimetres into 30 millimetres, and then you would be working with 30 and 70. Now, if I was you, I would suggest that we stick with the 7 and the 3, okay, because they're smaller numbers, they're going to be easier to work with. The question's not told us to definitely use centimetres, definitely use millimetres, so we're going to do that. So the area then, still length times breadth, which is 7 times 3. Oh, sorry folks, it's deciding it doesn't want to write. Here we go, let's try again. There we go, 7 times 3, which is 21. Now remember, we've picked centimetres here, so we've got square centimetres. And then the perimeter would be 2 7s plus 2 3s. So 2 lots of 7 plus 2 lots of 3. So although it's quite an easy sum, I'm still writing down exactly what I'm doing. So 2 7s are 14 and 2 3s are 6, showing, remember to do your bid maths, and that would be 20 centimetres. Now, if instead we wanted to use millimetres, then everything would be the same. We start off with the same formula, but this time we're doing 70 times 30, which would give you 2,100, but this time remember it would be square millimetres. Okay, and the perimeter would be 2 lots of 30 plus 2 lots of 70, which is 60, plus 140, which is 200, and again that would be in millimetres. Let me just change that. See, even us teachers overthink it sometimes. There we go. So for some of you, that's probably revision with the area and perimeter worksheet that we've set up for you. You maybe want to do about half of them just to make sure. Really focus and remember, folks, on the working, making sure you're setting it out in this kind of format. I don't just want to see answers. We need to see those lines of workings. You might not think it's important now, but as you move further on in school, we're going to be working with more complicated formulas. They're going to be worth more marks, and you want to make sure you've got all your working down.